Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412, looking at the 12-game Thursday night slate for November 2nd. It's going to be a really intriguing slate. Ownership is going to be very spread out, just because 9 of the 12 games are essentially flip a coin. It is very close matchups in many of these contests, so it's going to be really interesting. But before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out, as long as drop a comment down below. And if you want to come join us in our Discord channel, you can always use the code POWERPLAY if you haven't already for a free day of access into our NHL channel. Ask me any questions leading up to lock, and then even after lock we can discuss the slate. But yeah, so we have daily, weekly, and monthly passes. This would be for the daily pass. You just go to our website, type it in the coupon code, and you should be good to go. Links down in the description below. So let's dive in. Like I said, a lot of even matchups. You can see only 3 teams, Tampa Bay, Vegas, and Vancouver. Our moneyline favorites higher than 130. So it's going to be pretty spread out ownership, I think, all around. We have one matchup with an over-under of 7 leading the way with Los Angeles at Ottawa. Bunch of 6.5s, and then 2 5.5s. We have Carolina at the Rangers and the Islanders at Washington. Again, not too surprising. We're going to see a lot of those lower totals with teams like the Islanders and the Rangers throughout the course of the season, and then high numbers with Los Angeles and those kind of teams. Looking towards the projected goalkeepers, let me zoom in here so we can see this a little bit better. It's 150 too big. Who knows? That's good. Varlamov, I do have him green here. I did put not applicable. He's only got 2 starts, and he has looked phenomenal in those 2 starts. So his save percentage is like nuclear high at like 970 or something. And it was so high, it just kind of skewed the rest of the color coding, and that like nothing looked good, and they all looked pretty much the same. But again, he only has 2 games to his season so far. So obviously we're looking at the guys that struggle. Campbell for Edmonton, Gustafsson for Minnesota. Gustafsson, he's a really strong goaltender. He just had a really sluggish start to the season here. I think he's going to be able to turn it around, but still it is a little bit concerning. And Minnesota actually as a team are allowing the most goals against per game so far this season, which is quite surprising, just given their style of play and the roster. Anderson's another guy that's struggling. And then, Swayman and Reimer, they've looked really, really solid to start the season. Pay attention to the Toronto goalie. If it's Wall, he's been fantastic. If it's Samsonov, I'm going to have a whole lot more interest in Boston. Samsonov has looked really, really rough here to start the season. So I don't know who it's going to be. So definitely paying attention to that Toronto goalkeeper is going to be important on this slate. So let's dive into the line stacks here. I just went with 3 of them. Top line of Vancouver. Obviously, they are the biggest favorite on the board, but Mikheyev, Pettersson, and Kuzmenko. Very, very affordable. Pettersson, he has been doing fantastic, especially as of late. I think he's top 3 in the league now in terms of points generated. And Vancouver, just as a whole, offensively, have been fantastic. They're averaging close to 4 goals a game, and they're facing off against the San Jose team who bleeds shots against. You can see they allow the most shots against in the league at 38.3. And San Jose, they have yet to win so far this season, and they honestly look like one of the worst teams that we have seen in quite some time. So it's going to be a team that we're going to be picking on all season long. If you want to go with like guys like JT Miller or the second line of Vancouver, I would totally understand that. But Pettersson, he's got 3 multi-point games so far in 5 road games this season. Mikheyev here. Mikheyev, he's got points in 4 or 5 games so far this season. This is not supposed to be Kuzmenko, this is Mikheyev. And Kuzmenko, he's actually done pretty solid so far this season as well. He just doesn't have as much of a floor as the other guys, and he does skate on that second power play unit, which is important to note, just because Vancouver, solid power play unit so far this season at 26.7%, and facing off against a weaker penalty kill in San Jose, ranking 18th. So I like this top line of Vancouver. I think they're still going to be pretty popular. It is a 12-game slate, a lot of very even matchups, and Vancouver is going to be a team that sticks out. Anybody's going to be sticking out against San Jose so far this season. Second line I'm going to be looking at is this top line for Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk, Stützle, and Claude Giroux. No full power play correlation on these guys either. Giroux does get on that second power play unit. But I'm heading to the game with the highest over-under, essentially. And if you've watched these videos, you know that I'm going to be picking on Los Angeles quite a bit here, just because their goaltending tandem is not very strong. They spend a lot of their salary on the forwards, and they're just going to try to outscore teams. I know that's the point of sports, but they're just trying to score goals, and they're fine with letting up 3 goals a game, which is essentially what's happening, because Los Angeles has allowed 3 or more goals in all but only 2 of their games so far this season. And all 3 of these guys can provide you with a solid floor to go along with some upside with guys like Tkachuk and Stützle. They have a much higher ceiling. So I do think that this Ottawa top line could be very intriguing if you do go there. You can pair them with Chychrun at 5.9K if you do want to go in that direction. And then last line I'll talk about here is going to be Kaprizov, Hartman, and Zuccarello, the top line for Minnesota, facing off against New Jersey. Now, if you've played NHL DFS over the previous couple of years, especially last year, New Jersey, they're just an annoying team to play against. They shut down everything defensively. That has not really been the case so far this season. They've been even worse than Los Angeles. They've allowed 3 or more goals in all but only 1 game so far this season, but they still have a fantastic record. They're just playing a lot of high-scoring games. The over is smashing in all of their games. Minnesota, they've been very strong offensively as well. They rank 7th in goals so far this season in goals per game. And it's a possibility that they're going to be getting Boldy back on the wing on that second line. So, I mean, that'd be big news for that. It's going to take a little bit more. That second line would take a little bit more. Can't think of the word right now. Attention. There we go. Wow, that's bad. Could take more attention from that New Jersey defense. So really opening things up here. Hartman does skate on that second power play unit. So again, not full power play correlation there. But still, this top line for Minnesota has been amazing at home ice so far. They've had 4 games on home ice, and combined these guys have 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points in 4 games. That is fantastic. If they're able to generate that kind of offense here, I mean, that's GPP level scoring. So let's head over into the individual plays here. Sorry, I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat. So going to the individual plays, I'm going to zoom on in. Jack Hughes, all the way up at the top, 9.5K. On this slate, you're going to have the option of playing McDavid. You're going to have the option of playing Austin Matthews and Jack Hughes and Pasternak. They're, all the big studs are going. I do lean towards Jack Hughes here. I did mention that Minnesota has really been struggling defensively, especially, and their goalies have been struggling as well. Minnesota has actually allowed the most goals per game so far this season, and New Jersey has one of the best offenses this season. So I actually think that Hughes is going to be a really intriguing play here. And then Jack Eichel for Vegas. He is going to be facing off against Winnipeg. Eichel is just a floor machine. He just shoots the puck a ton. Eichel's a guy that you could be pairing with Marcia Show here at 6.3K. You could also be pairing both of those guys with somebody like Shea Theodore, who doesn't have a super great floor, but he has been producing points pretty well so far this season. So Eichel at 7.5K, just given his floor, I think is going to be a very popular option if you are going to be paying up it at center and not really paying up for all those super high end guys. Dylan Larkin for Detroit. Larkin's been unreal at home. I think he's averaging 2 points per game at home so far on home ice. Larkin is the guy that you'd be pairing with Alex DeBrincat here at 7.3K. This is one of the best point pairs in the entire league, meaning that when either of these guys scores, there's a very good chance that the other guy is going to have an assist to go along with that goal. Joel Eriksson, 6.7K. He does skate on that top power play unit for Minnesota. New Jersey have a pretty decent penalty kill, so it's not something I'm going to be super invested in. But if you are looking for some of that correlation on the power play, you could pair him with Kaprizov or Zuccarello. I also did mention that Boldy could possibly be back for Minnesota here, and that would be big news. I don't have Boldy here listed on the wing, but if he is in, I would have some interest in him to go along with Eriksson. Boone Jenner, 6.3K for Columbus, facing off against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, believe it or not, has been bleeding shots so far this season. You can see they're ranked 31st in shots against, allowing almost 36 shots per game. And Jenner has been generating plenty of shots, so he's actually going to be giving you a pretty decent floor here. They are a bit of an underdog, but they're still on home ice going up against a Tampa team that is allowing a lot of shots on net. For Washington, Strome and Kuznetsov, essentially, you could go either of these guys. It doesn't matter each one. They've both been doing very well. Kuznetsov, I think, does provide you with a little bit better of a floor, but Strome's been scoring some goals. I think each of these guys had a goal in their last game. So don't mind either of them. Backstrom, he's going to be taking a leave from Washington. It's kind of disappointing. He's just been such a staple in that franchise for so long. But Strome and Kuznetsov, two guys interested there. Poitras, 4.3K. Pay attention to that. Let me just update this because I know that he's not 4.3. I know he's 3.9. All up here. But Poitras, 4.3K is... Nope, wait, he's 3.7. Oh man, I'm going to be looking back at this and see if I'm right. But Poitras 4.3. Pay attention to the Boston lines. Marchand did not skate on the top line, or he wasn't really at practice on yesterday. So Poitras did bump up into that top line role. Not sure if he's still going to be there. Not sure if it's a maintenance day. Not sure if Marchand's injured or whatnot. But for Poitras at 4.3K, I think is going to be really intriguing. And then Paul. He gets on the top power play unit for Tampa Bay. He's going to be skating with guys like Stamkos and Kucherov, Point, and Hedman on that top power play unit. He is kind of shuffled down into that even strength third line, but still 3.7K. If he's going to be able to get a lot of power play time, I'm going to have some interest in him. He just doesn't provide you with much of a floor, so just be cautious of that. Heading towards the wing here, Pastrnak 9.6K. Anytime Boston is on the slate and at home, Pastrnak is going to be in play until he reaches about 10K. He's just that good. He's also a guy that you could just one-off if you really do want to go in that direction. But 9.6, that's a hefty price tag if you do want to go that route. Let's see. Matthew Tkachuk. Looking at the matchups over here. Where is it? There we go. Matthew Tkachuk for Florida. I could not find Florida for the life of me. 8.2K. I still think that he's just not priced. He's seen a little bit of a price reduction given from where he was. You compare him with Ekblad, any of those, not Ekblad, Barkov. If you do go in that Florida route, Detroit, they can struggle defensively. It is Reimer and net. He's looked pretty strong, but I guess it's more of a gut play here for Tkachuk. Toffoli, he's a guy that you're going to be pairing with Jack Hughes. Toffoli's been great in 2 road games so far this season. I think he has a hat trick in one of them. DeBrincat, already talked about pairing him with Larkin. Marcia Show, you're going to be pairing with Eichel. And then a couple of Seattle guys I wanted to mention here. McCann and Schwartz. These are like the 2 shot leaders for Seattle. They're facing off against Nashville. Nashville plays a very high pace, up and down kind of style of play. So I'm going to have a lot of interest in Seattle, especially that top power play unit of Seattle. Nashville's penalty kill has been disastrous. Ranked second, third to dead last in the league. Seattle's got a pretty solid power play unit. They don't skate on the same power play unit. McCann, I think, skates on the top one. Schwartz skates on the second power play unit. But either or, they both generate lots of shots. They get the opportunities on the power play, and they're both very affordable. So I do like going in that route. Moore, talked about him in the last video, third line, but really does produce. He got an assist in that last game, but pairing him with guys like Danault or Kaliev could be an intriguing way to go there. Roslovic, 4.2K, skating on that top line for Columbus. He's actually been really, really solid so far this season. Gets top power play unit time as well. I think he might be one of my favorite cheap wing punts if you do want to go in that direction. Raymond, you're going to be pairing him with Larkin and DeBrincat. He gets that top line play, but gets second power play unit time. And then Bjorkstrand at 3.8. And then going towards the defense, Hamilton, there wasn't a whole lot to like up top on defense, but Hamilton I think can provide you with a decent enough floor, combined with Minnesota just bleeding goals against essentially. I just really wish he would be skating on the top power play unit with Jack Hughes and Toffoli, but he's not. He's skating on the second power play unit. Luke Hughes gets the time on that top power play unit, which is why he's on here at 4.4K. Chychrun, kind of mentioned him already, pairing him with those Ottawa guys if you want to go in that direction. Quinn Hughes, 5.8K. He is the league leader for defenders in terms of points. Vancouver, playing for Vancouver, biggest favorite. I think he's going to be a very popular option. Jersey provides you with a solid floor. If you are going into this salary tier and you want to get off of maybe a bit more popular Hughes. Hronek, he somehow has 8 assists in 9 games. Not sure how that's... it's not going to be sustainable. I'm just telling you that right now. But still, when you're hot, you're hot. And in hockey, like that's the thing that happens. Like guys go on crazy hot streaks. I'm not saying having 0 goals is a hot streak, but for Hronek, he's looking pretty good, and his salary hasn't jumped too much. Schultz here at 6.3K. He's going to be skating on that top power play unit for Seattle. He's going to kind of be quarterbacking it from the point. And then Shattenkirk, he's going to be taking over that top power play unit role for Boston in place of Charlie McAvoy. McAvoy has been suspended for a handful of games here for that nasty hit that he gave. So Shattenkirk should see an increased role and get an increased opportunity as well. So 3.3K could be a nice cheap option if you do go with that route. So that's kind of where everything shakes out. I obviously haven't covered everything. There's lots more to talk about, lots more that I'm interested in. So again, if you do want to come join us, you can use PowerPlay as the coupon code for a free day of NHL access. Links down in the description below. Hit subscribe, comment. We'd love to know what your thoughts are on this slate. So good luck as always in this contest. It is not November 1st. It's November 2nd. Man, I've had a lot of typos on this one here. But good luck in your contest, and we will see you on Friday.